Hello, Maya Gavanin, and welcome back to the Under Towers podcast. My name is Steven.
I'm Daniel.
I'm Sam.
And we are back from an extended break because the Under Towers family has grown, and Mr. and Mrs. Frazier had their son. Their son was born.
Yes.
We've been super happy. All is well. But of course, with all this amazing, wonderful, challenging transition, we needed to take a break for a second. But we are so back, boys.
We've never been more back.
We are so back. And to celebrate being back and all of there's been a lot of news and things happening in the nerd world since we've been back. One of the largest of which that we've been keeping track of in our group chat is all of the casting news that has been coming out of late between the Narnia movies and the upcoming Harry Potter HBO show. Just a boatload of casting news. I would say the majority of which has been kind of awesome.
Yeah.
But so we thought that we would take our first episode back, have a little bit of fun, and present casting lists for if we were to cast the inevitable at this point Lord of the Rings TV show.
Yes.
This is not a thing that we know is happening. We don't know anything that you don't know. We're just saying it is an inevitability at this point, and so these are people that we would cast if we were making it ourselves.
If it were to get announced, and I have as we get started, I think if you did a show, I think it is possible for it to be good. I think my confidence in it actually being good would be like through the floor. But I do think if you did a 12 episodes a season with 6 seasons and like about 45-minute episodes, not even really an hour. Occasionally maybe they're an hour long, but you do those nice tight 45-minute episodes. You know, you've got a really lot of content, and then you basically do each season is basically one of the books of the Lord of the Rings. Where, because there were
like all
6
six.
books.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you do it. And I actually think if I were making the show, I would even film it like the books are written. So like you get, exactly how the Fellowship goes, but then I would separate out the Sam.
But book 6 will get super weird.
Book 6 would get super weird, but that's fine. We're going to do the Scouring of the Shire. We're going to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a long off-ramp, which are in the books. We're going to do that. So yeah, you start with Frodo and Sam, you get all that beginning, and then you get a long goodbye at the end. So that's what I would do, and that's kind of the way I'm thinking about this.
It almost makes book 6 like almost a spinoff.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is you would get it, but this is also the way Return of the King reads. You would start the 6th season, and like in something like episode 4 of 12. Or 5 or 6.
They destroy the ring.
They destroy the ring, and then it's like there's a bunch of episodes left. What's going on? But
Right.
I think that would be good. I think that would be good. I mean,
Well,
the book is
definitely,
good.
I think whether it's 12 episodes or having, kind of the standard HBO
You could do
10-hour long episodes, 6
With
seasons.
the fan base, I think it would be fine.
Well, and getting to add back in a lot of things that, were, of course, dropped from the movies because there was no time.
We're also doing 2 seasons a year, and we're hiring multiple set directors to do the bifurcated production. So then, especially for the later season, so maybe not the first 2, and then the second 2, we're doing a spring season and a fall season. We're going like old school TV, and we're actually we're going to put our crew to work and actually get the TV out.
Yeah,
in a reasonable amount of time. No year breaks. Right? No year breaks for this. This is the things happening in TV these days are ridiculous, and we're not going to have any.
Like
we're not going to have any.
Filming each book, Fellowship, Two Towers, Return of the King, at the same time.
Yeah,
and then separating it out 6 months to a year apart each season, so that there's extra time for visual effects.
Yeah. There it is.
And the kicker is all.
But
of
we're
this
using real effects. we're using very minimal.
Real life orcs, real life trolls.
orcs.
Real orcs, real
No, but
ring
we're
rates.
gonna use suits.
What I was-
We're gonna use
yeah,
practical effects.
Okay, but
Very minimal. Very
Minute
minimal.
bigatures.
the real kicker here is all 6 seasons will come out before the release of Winds of Winter.
That
as
is the-
well. Yes.
Well, that's a guarantee, and the show isn't even like we're just hypothetically
Yeah.
talking about
It'll
this.
still come out
But it
because
is
Harry
absolutely
Potter,
a guarantee.
Harry Potter was conceived, delivered, and made movies of all of them before the Winds of Winter came
That is
out.
wild. The entire series of books, the entire series of
We're
movies.
actually making a new series of the same series that already released.
A 10
and it will
season
be out
long-
before Winds of Winter.
a 10 season long series. Yes.
Yes.
And almost certainly will be out before
Yeah.
Winds of Winter.
Which 1990, right? That's when the last Game of Thrones book came out.
Well, the first one.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's
it hasn't
right.
been that long.
Yeah, no. 2005. 2005 is the the Jon Snow dies one.
All right. So
Anyways.
let's dive into this. The 2025 Lord of the Rings casting
Project 2025 for Lord of the Rings.
for Lord of the Rings. Do we want to start at the bottom of how do we want to start this?
I we just
with-
started where the book starts. So like, because we kind of made our list somewhat semi-chronological.
Yeah.
This
All
is
right.
where we
Order of
edit
appearance.
in Galadriel's voice.
No, that's the other thing. No voiceovers.
No VO.
No voiceovers. No pre-log. We're not doing any of that. It's just so forget everything Sam just said.
It should be relatively easy to do.
We're just opening on the Shire. There could be a voiceover in the Shire because you could get a narratorial voice.
Hypocritical.
But it's not a character. We know Pass of the Ring. We're going to reveal that in the show. Okay. Well,
So
let's
who's
go
narrating
forward.
at this point?
So
Is it
who's-
Morgan
Nobody.
Freeman?
Maybe it could just be
Yeah.
more. It could be Morgan Freeman.
Who's up first?
Sam. Stephen. Just start with you.
Okay,
Kinda go
so let's start with
forward
Bilbo.
down. Yeah, Bilbo.
Start with old Bilbo.
Mm. Ian Holm.
For Bilbo, I am presenting Mr. Sam Neill.
Okay.
A little bit of a different take, but I think he would bring a great, tired former adventurer ready to go off on one final quest before he relaxes for the rest of his days at Rivendell.
I like
so
that.
he thinks.
That's nice.
So
Yeah.
Sam Neill is my
Yeah.
choice.
I kind of just want to see him again in movies too.
Yeah,
That would
he
be
doesn't
kinda-
do a ton.
I feel like he's
getting
retired.
older. Yeah, he probably just doesn't do a ton, but
I mean, he'd come out to be Bilbo.
yeah, probably.
Daniel, who do you have for Bilbo?
I've got Kenneth Branagh.
Very
Kenneth
interesting.
Branagh is my Bilbo, and it links up with my Frodo pick because they have they could be
Oh,
cousins
Daniel
in
has
my opinion.
pictures on his.
Yeah, I got pictures in case
And
you
I
guys
will
are
be
familiar.
putting pictures up.
So Kenneth Branagh, I think he can do the whimsy. Honestly, I didn't really intend this, but he is somewhat of an older Martin Freeman in some ways, and
Yeah.
I think can do the Bilbo's humor, but also at this point he's a well-worn silly trickster, blazing off to Rivendell, and I think he'd give a great performance, and it's also not a lot of acting. So the way I thought about this too, for the most part, is if you're making a show, it's a huge commitment, and you could probably nail some stars for some of the roles. But I tried to think if you're gonna get some really big names, you're probably gonna be able to nail some of the big names for parts that just have less filming to do.
Sure, that makes sense. So we've got Sam Neill, we've got Kenneth Branagh. Sam, who is your Bilbo?
Okay. My Bilbo is Martin Short. And
Okay.
I actually don't hate it.
I think
I actually think he'd do.
Yeah, I don't hate it
Yeah.
at
he
all.
kind of
actually.
looks like Hobbity
He does.
already.
He does.
And he also just has that kind of effeminate voice too. Could
Right.
bring a lot of character to this post-adventurer type person that has an evil thing.
Well, and I don't think, and obviously he's older now too.
He's
but
so
I
quirky.
don't think he could pull off Bilbo in The Hobbit, but Bilbo post Hobbit, just kind of being quirky and silly. I actually think he could do it.
And
I
he's
would
like
love to
I've got this
see-
really cool joke. I'm gonna disappear in front of my friends. That
Yes.
seems.
I also though would
weird.
love to see Martin Short doing that, Sam,
Yeah,
and then having those more serious
crazy moments.
of
Yeah.
like the when he thinks Gandalf is trying to steal the ring, or even
Yeah.
just the exhausted. I feel like butter's spread over too much.
And
bread.
I've not seen him in a dramatic role.
Not that I can
really,
think of, but I think he could do
But I
it.
bet he could do it.
I
He's
think
probably done theater or
yeah.
something.
I don't hate that, Sam. I like that.
Yeah. He's probably done theater.
All right, so moving on to the nephew, Mr. Frodo Baggins. I went a little bit. I tried to think a little bit older than the.
Can we make a selection?
Oh yeah. Selection.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
whole conversation that we just had.
I didn't know if we were gonna circle
No.
back or.
So
do it,
okay,
yeah.
okay. So our Bilbos, we have Sam Neill, we have Kenneth Branagh, and we have Martin Short.
I mean,
What are we?
I'm partial to my own pick, but I don't dislike any of the others. So I don't know what I'm not. I don't
I
know
guess
what to say, really.
I'm the deal breaker here
I guess yeah.
because I could go either way.
Yeah, I still feel kind of. I don't know. Yeah, go ahead and break the tie, Sam. We'll say that Daniel and I are voting for
I
ours.
think that I want to see Sam Neill again, so I'd probably go with Sam Neill.
Wow.
Mostly, but I would really want to see Sam Neill carry whimsy in a way, and it would almost be like he'd have to hone in on like literal specific moments in Jurassic Park, the first one, to like pull it off. Because I've only seen him in that and like The Hunt for Red October, and like I can't think of anything that he's done that he's not kind of serious and a little stoic and kind of bothered
Yeah.
in all his
Well,
roles.
and it might just be a more, it might be just a hair more cynical Bilbo.
yeah,
which-
he would carry that. Which
I mean, I'm not necessarily against it.
to the character, it does make a lot of sense.
Sure.
That he
When
would
he's
be
had the ring
cynical.
he's had the ring for a long time.
Yeah, and he carries like sort of a youth, but it's almost like a bitter youth in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Which I mean, that's what happens to Gollum. So, but I also just like want to see Sam Neill in something again.
Okay.
So I think I would go with Sam Neill, mostly also because I like Kenneth Branagh as like a director, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I haven't seen him.
I'll be
act and
interested.
stuff.
I'll be interested to hear what you think of where I have him. I think there's actually a lot of places in this story that Kenneth Branagh would be great.
Sure.
I think there's a lot of characters.
Versatile actor.
All right, so Bilbo, we're casting Mr. Sam Neill. Moving on to nephew Frodo, the ring bearer. I was trying to think a little bit older than the hobbits in the movies.
Like 70, like he's
not-
supposed to be.
No, well, more. Well, he's in his 50s, right? When he finally takes off.
Yeah.
But that is also 50 for a hobbit is not 50 for a human. So thinking more in the 30s range. So for Frodo, I picked Mr. Jonathan Bailey.
I don't know who that is.
He was most recently just in
So glad you have your
Wicked.
laptop. Is he Ariana Grande's boyfriend? Oh no, that guy.
I guess.
I don't know who he is.
He's like a dancer singer guy.
Okay.
That's an interesting Frodo. Very interesting Frodo.
He's a handsome fella. He's got heart. He's got range.
Okay.
I think he would be. I think he would be a very interesting Frodo.
Huh.
I like
Would
it.
capture the character while going in a slightly different direction.
Oh, it's tough because Elijah
than
Wood is
Elijah
so
Wood did.
perfect.
Sure.
But yes.
So, on that same note, my Frodo is Matthew Good.
Interesting.
Yes.
Oh.
Interesting.
The recently Department Q. He's also in Watchmen, Jane Eyre. I think he's a
Mhm.
absolutely phenomenal actor who can probably do anything.
Who was he in Watchmen?
He was.
was,
What's the guy? What's the character's name?
Ozymandias.
Ozymandias,
The young one.
the villain.
Oh yeah. Wait, are you talking about the movie or the show?
The movie.
The movie.
Oh
Yeah.
God. Yes, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean this guy.
Yes.
But yeah. So he's pushing 50. But also still looks very young, which is pretty common for actors these days. So I think he'll be able to pull off that look, but also to give a still elven hobbit, which is how they talk about Frodo, but he's going to give a more bookish. I mean, like Frodo's like an older landlord, really, like in the Shire, like living in Bag End, wealthy.
kind of always has
relatively-
been wealthy.
relatively respectable member of society. Obviously, the Baggins are like are well-to-dos, but also somewhat seen as weird. So like I think he can pull that off.
Right.
And deliver, and also just deliver a, like you said, Frodo, Elijah Wood's Frodo is iconic.
Right.
So just want to go like basically totally the opposite
Different way.
direction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean,
Very
yeah.
interesting choice.
Okay, mine is Daniel Radcliffe. Mostly because
the chosen one. Why not?
we've seen him
Okay.
in this space before, and he's done some stuff after, and I've quite liked the one medieval fantasy show he's been in. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like it's a satire.
Familiar with it, but I haven't seen it.
It's very silly, and he's like this like snobby little prince character, but I do think that he would pull off Frodo in the way that Frodo does get annoying in a perfect way.
Well, and then you're coming full circle with the meme of not being able to tell Daniel Radcliffe and Elijah Wood apart.
Yeah.
Right. So
I
it's
will
like,
say, though,
give it its day.
I will say, though, we're doing the book. We're really trying to adapt the book closely. At least I am. And Frodo is not basically ever annoying in the book. That the annoying Frodo is a movie invention, and it must be eradicated in our show.
It must be Radcliffe-ated.
It is not a part of the book. Book Frodo is really like, maybe he's a second annoying when he asks for the ring back from Sam. Maybe there's a little bit, like maybe there's one scene.
So just as a refresher for everybody, we have Jonathan Bailey, Matthew Good, and Daniel Radcliffe.
I hate to just vote for my guy again.
I know.
But I'm voting for my guy again.
I am as well.
Yeah.
Sam, you're tiebreaker again, or we're just going to
I still like Radcliffe, so I guess we're going to have to arm wrestle this one.
Can we flip a coin or something?
Or we can come back to Frodo after we see who the rest of.
This is the main character, so it makes sense. There
It's
would
a
be
big
some
deal.
contention about that.
So we'll circle back to Frodo.
I mean, we
after
could
we've
just like
discussed
give
some
up
of the
and say
rest of the
Timothy
company.
Chalamet because everybody wants that.
See, I don't want that.
No.
I think the world would.
Would they? Okay.
So here's the thing. It's not a bad choice. It's not like I didn't think about it, but again,
I didn't think about it at
trying
all.
to go in a different direction, he would be Timothy Chalamet would be going in a much more Elijah Wood direction.
Yes.
With the character.
I think so.
So let's circle back to Frodo.
Okay.
Let's talk about Master Samwise.
Oh, my Gandalf is next.
Your Gandalf is next. We can
Yeah.
do Gandalf next. All right. For Gandalf, I have Jason Isaacs.
Okay. Interesting.
It's hard to. So many of the performances from the movies are iconic. Probably none more so than Ian McKellen as Gandalf. So it's hard to escape that shadow. I think that Jason Isaacs could bring a different energy than McKellen did, while still staying true to the character.
Interesting. Okay.
And also, I just think that Jason Isaacs is a phenomenal actor.
He is.
And I would
amazing.
love to see him doing. He's one
He
of those
doesn't get to
actors
do
that's-
warmth very often.
Yeah,
so
he seems like a great guy.
Yes.
But he's so good at playing just the ice cold villains that is mostly what he does.
I mean,
And
Gandalf does have like that streak, that like.
Yeah, well, he's dangerous,
Yeah.
but he's good.
Like Aslan.
I was gonna say it's like Aslan.
Yeah.
Of course, he's not safe, but he's good.
Yeah.
And I think I could definitely see Jason Isaacs doing that very well.
So I considered very strongly Gary Oldman,
Sure.
who I
Why
think.
wouldn't you? Yeah.
Yeah, who I think would be
He
great.
should be considered for literally
And
any
Yeah, Gary
role.
Oldman could be
and I
considered for
think
anything.
would do Gandalf's humor perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my pick would also do it well, but I ended up going in that similar vein, wanting a different interpretation of the character and trying to go like really also outside of maybe this actor's comfort zone, but I think it is within his range. I went with Daniel Craig.
Oh,
I like that too.
I do like that.
I actually think he would nail it, and I found the scruffiest picture of him I could find.
Yeah, no, Danny, he would absolutely
He
nail
would
it.
eat it up. And it would be a very interesting, maybe a little more muscular Gandalf, obviously.
Well, because,
'cause
Bond.
he's buff,
yeah.
but he's a very physical
Could
actor.
he also do it like with the accent from the Southern drawl?
Oh, the
Southern Gandalf?
I say that
His
we need
Louisiana
to get this
detective from
ring
the-
to
Knives
the
Out.
fires
Knives
of
Out.
Mordor.
I mean, we could definitely test it. We
it
could
can
A/B
only be
we could
destroyed
A/B we could
in
A/B
one
test it.
place. In the
Yeah.
fire from whence it came.
I
could see
do
him
think
doing
that
that,
is
yeah.
that's a great choice.
Thank you.
I think
felt
we
really
have
good
a
about
we're 2 for 2 right now
Okay,
on
so
great choices. I feel
with-
good about either
yeah.
of those.
Okay. With this one, because he has no lineage or anything, like everything is on the table. He could have been looked or sounded like anything, and it's not depicted like what he like sounded like or
Okay.
specifically looked like, other than like old, ish.
You're making me more worried the longer you talk.
Yeah, and I'm trying to do that because of what I'm about to say. But okay, hear me out.
Is it Meryl Streep?
No, I'm not gonna. Although that is not a bad idea. What I am,
It's like the Glenn Close pirate in
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
I am gonna say Jackie Chan, and the reason being, specifically Jackie Chan from the remake of Karate Kid. That sort of like that role, I think he could carry, especially the broken sort of like English like. I think
Jackie Chan isn't
Jackie-
in the
he's very
Karate
funny.
Kid.
He's warm, and he's also a badass. Like
Yeah.
he could.
Okay.
I'm saying that who he is tied in with how he acts, and specifically the remake of Karate Kid.
The remake. Okay.
Yeah, the remake.
Okay.
That he's showing me Gandalf in that. And,
Wow.
Why not? I would have gone like
and he doesn't
Ken-
have
Ken
to look
Watanabe.
any way. He can be anything.
or what's his name?
He's an angel.
The actor from Shogun and Last
Um,
Samurai.
Yes, that guy. He's too serious, I think, to be Gandalf.
Oh,
In
I think
in-
he'd be pretty kick-ass Gandalf.
He would be, but not in the one I'm imagining, which is Jackie Chan.
Hiroyuki.
Sanada.
Yeah.
And I do
Yeah.
think that Jackie Chan could kick Hiroyuki's ass. Like, just,
I mean,
he totally could.
very possible. Okay.
Wow.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting choice. It would be a unique take on the character on it in just like every conceivable way, basically.
I mean, except Glenn Close.
So I do like your pick, Steven. I am going to stick with mine again.
I'm a big fan of Jason Isaacs as the part, but I think I'm gonna go with Daniel Craig.
I'm actually going to go with Daniel Craig, too.
That makes me feel good.
I think that was
Because I want
it
to see
was
a rip.
left
I want to
field
see a ripped
casting,
Gandalf. Yeah,
It came to me.
but it's
but he has to have the Southern drawl in mind.
Okay, stop. Okay.
all right. So Gandalf, there we go. Okay, Aragorn. This one was the hardest for me.
Okay. Let me
I've got two. Well, okay, that's just next on my list, but we still have more hobbits. Who was next on your list, Daniel?
So the Gaffer or Ted Sandyman for me, which again, real quick, I wanted that to be
Okay,
Tim
yeah,
Roth.
go ahead.
Tim Roth is Ted Sandyman. I
Yeah.
feel good about that. Probably a little old, but that's okay.
Wait,
That's
who's
all right.
Ted Sandyman?
He's the guy.
Piece of
he's
shit
the,
hobbit.
He's the jerk hobbit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's perfect.
So, but that's just a little,
notes for
little
that.
aside.
That's who it is.
Yeah.
So
So Sam, well, we can do
Sam.
Samwise.
All right, Samwise. Samwise, I went with, and my wife helped me out with this one. So shout out Christy. Samwise, I chose Matthew Lewis,
ooh, who is
who
that?
played Neville Longbottom in the Harry Potter movies.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
He'd need to get less jacked.
Is he Jack
He's
now?
gotten well fit.
Okay.
But I think that a lot of the heart that he brought to Neville
Sure.
would translate very well to Sam. Yeah, I just think he'd be a great fit.
Okay, I like that.
Lovable, pack on a few extra pounds to get back into Sam shape.
Yeah.
But it's mostly the heart is there.
I like it.
Can you get a picture of him?
Matthew Lewis.
Yeah. I think he could do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
His birthday's coming right up. He's our age.
Happy birthday,
happy
Matthew.
birthday, bro.
27.
5 days from now.
Yep.
Wow.
Okay,
I guess that means he wins.
yeah.
Yeah,
guess
go
so.
go on though.
My Sam is Kyle Solar, who most recently was Cyril from Andor.
Interesting.
I found his performance in Andor very effective, very affecting, and then watching some like interviews with him in the show, Saw that he has
Who's
range. I
Cyril?
did confirm he's an American. So he's basically the Empire guy who's
He's the
who's-
bad guy
he's the
that
middleman
he has
guy.
that really bad mom.
Yes, he has the bad mom. Yes.
Yes. Oh yeah.
So he's obviously not a Samwise performance, but he's done a lot of stage theater. He has done a really good English accent.
No,
in the
I could
past as
see.
an
I could
American.
see his face
That's
doing
what
that.
That's what I think. I think he would nail it. He's also an actor who's not really Andor's like his biggest part ever. So he's on the up, but he's not had his big moment. But
He seems like the realistic
but
cast for this.
I feel like he could nail this part for us.
Yeah, I think that one is probably what I'm going to vote for. But I do need to share what I was thinking,
Please do.
which is
Cookie Monster.
because he's like, we should get to the what happened to the Lambers bread? I was gonna. I think that. Okay, Michael Cera should definitely at least toss his hat in the ring.
Okay.
He's been out of it for a while. He totally carries the insecure part, and we have yet to see him go into the deeper, like, I can handle stuff. But he also seems like he could carry that thing of like nothing phases me in my goodness. I think he could do that.
That's a choice.
It is.
I
Michael
love your
Cera.
defense of him.
I
I don't
will
know if I
say-
can see Michael Cera killing orcs with a
Yeah.
frying pan.
I totally could
I could actually see
because
him,
of Scott Pilgrim.
Yes,
Think
I can
about
because
that.
of Scott Pilgrim. See him
Yeah.
doing some fighting. I will say I could see Sarah more as a Pippin or a Mary than Sam, but that's just me. So that's just. But again, like as a Hobbit, he absolutely has some Hobbit energy.
He could be Frodo, actually.
He could be in the Wes Anderson Hobbit.
Yeah, there you go. He
What?
definitely.
They haven't picked
Hobbit-
his-
He's
serious
maybe
Hobbit
Wes
energy.
Anderson's Frodo.
We have not.
Maybe.
He
Well,
might
we
be.
have not picked a director, so
We haven't picked a director. This is
that could change. That could change
The
everything.
Lord of the Rings TV show directed by Wes Anderson.
Yeah. I mean,
that makes
we
me-
could do
makes me
Greta
uncomfortable.
Gerwig and
That
just
sounds
change.
amazing, actually.
Do Greta Gerwig and just change
Yes.
the genders of everyone.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
All right. So we have Matthew Lewis, we have Kyle Solar, and we have Michael Cera.
Yes.
I'm
just gonna say it.
I'm gonna stick with my boy.
I like Daniels. I think Daniels makes the most sense. If I was actually casting this, I would definitely pick this dude. He is really amazing in Andor, and just I haven't even finished season 1, but all
Yeah.
the episodes he's been in this far, seeing how how he can carry a character under such duress and like also just like really weird home sort of circumstance. Like the opportunity they gave him in Andor to show this like
The range.
the range is pretty amazing. So I do think he would probably pull it off really well, especially on the positive side of things
Yeah.
rather than the dark side.
Well, and I will say this is the closest I've been to switching my vote so far. But
Because Michael
I'm gonna
Cera's
stick
such a
with-
great pick, yeah.
Yes. Because Sarah was the one I was going to potentially switch for. But I'm going to stick with Solar for this time, and that'll be that for this one.
All right.
Okay, I did Michael Sheen for the Gaffer, which I think would actually be awesome too.
Michael Sheen is phenomenal. I actually would love Michael Sheen as Bilbo.
Michael Sheen as a Bilbo would be great. And then Fiona
Michael
Shaw
Sh-
as Lobelia Saxville Baggins, which I also think is
Oh,
inspired.
that's perfect. That's
That is
perfect.
that is great.
I feel like
We'll
she
move
already
on to
played
Pippin.
that role.
Basically.
She's basically
basically
Lobelia
played
and
it.
everything.
She's basically played it already.
All right, Mary or Pippin? Who's next?
Pippin's first.
Okay, all right. So Pippin for me. This is I've got a couple bigger names in this. This is one of them.
Okay.
Tom Holland for Pippin.
Interesting. Okay.
And again, another
He
actor
does
with
have
a lot
Pippin
of
energy.
a lot of heart, but yes, a lot of Pippin energy.
Okay.
A
Is-
more ripped Pippin for sure, but
Yeah,
We
but
can-
I mean,
we can
Pippin,
de-rip him.
Pippin pulls his weight, especially by the end.
I will say I don't think Holland is actually that ripped. He's just kind of he's just like kind of like
he's athletic.
he's like wiry.
He's not like he's ripped, but he's not jacked. That's a,
Yeah,
that is an
okay,
important-
fair enough.
That is an
All right,
important
fair-
description.
Fair enough. Okay.
he's a gymnast.
My Pippin is Freddie Highmore, who was
Uh-huh.
most recently in The Good Doctor, and as a young man was Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, and I just think kind of oods Pippin vibes and energy.
Mine was also Tom Holland. So
Really?
yeah,
Wow, look at that.
That that settles it.
I think the world wants to see him
Wow.
as Pippin, but he would definitely bring a more focused Pippin.
Sure.
I do feel like the movies kind of made Pippin seem like a total goof.
Yes.
He's more of a
And-
goober in the movies than he is in the books.
Yeah,
He
that's what
is.
I'm saying. So if we're going with your sentiment, Daniel,
We're going
making
with
it
the
more
books.
accurate, then Tom Holland kind of clears that up.
Tom Holland definitely does, I think.
And that's also what I was going with Freddie is, yes, some of the young, but it's the youngster unaware of the world Pippin, not necessarily doofus Pippin. But I think Holland does a great job with that. So I think we can call it for Tom Holland.
Congratulations, Tom. You're our Pippin.
So passing
Mary.
on, the first elf we meet in the books is Gildor and Glorion, and I was going to cast Domhnall Gleeson, and we can move on with that.
Fair enough.
But yeah,
Don't
you do a great
hate
job.
that. Domhnall Gleeson is phenomenal. Mary Iduk Brandy Buck. I chose George McKay.
Okay.
Most famously, I think, in the phenomenal World War I epic 1917.
Oh yes,
Okay.
that guy's awesome.
Yeah.
He's the in 1917. I don't know if did you guys watch that movie?
I love that
It's
movie.
absolutely
It's so good.
phenomenal.
It's the
film.
Oner, right?
It
Yeah,
is,
it's
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And he is the older of the two young soldiers.
He's the survivor one, right?
Yes. And I think that there's a lot of I think he would inhabit Mary very well, where he's got he's got the spirit and the youth still, even though he's not the youngest member of the party. But he's also got the more serious streak. I could absolutely see him, kneeling to Theoden and
Sure.
becoming a rider of the Riddermark and charging with Éowyn into Battle of the Pelennor Fields.
I love it.
So yeah, that's my Mary.
My Mary is Harry Lottie, who was Rob in the show Industry, which is
Yeah,
just about the
that's
best
a
thing
good
on
one too.
one of the best things on TV. And then he was Harvey Dent in the recent Joker movie.
Okay, I'm not familiar with him. I'll be honest.
yeah.
I haven't seen
No,
anything
He's
done.
No worries there.
he's a really
He's a
He's got the
really,
good look
really good
for it.
actor.
he's as good as your. I mean, it's a toss up between y'all's. Although
Yeah.
I haven't shared mine yet.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, we need to hear Sam's. But yeah, no, I love him. He's a phenomenal performer, and I think would do a great job as Mary.
Okay, so my Mary is Rupert Grint. I know I put Daniel Radcliffe too, but it would be cool to see them both in another iconic book series.
It's a laugh, but I don't hate it.
I know. We should have done what's his face. We should have done Draco as Pippin.
Well, and if you choose, if we
Or,
went
I mean-
with my Sam, then you've got
yeah.
Harry, Neville, and
Yeah, it's true.
It's
Ron.
literally we need Hermione to be Pippin now. Yeah. No, but yeah, I think he would be a good Mary.
Okay. Wow.
All right.
All right.
I'm going with my fellow with George McKay for Mary. And maybe I would I
Yeah,
don't
you're
know.
not
I'm
seeing him. No,
familiar with his work.
I'm fine. I'm fine with that.
I think I'm gonna go with Daniels though, because I have seen him in this, and Adam seems. I can't escape from how tall he is in 1917 specifically, because his co-star is shorter than him throughout the whole movie. It's like very hard for me to imagine him being a halfling.
Well, on the flip side though, Merry and Pippin come back to the Shire
Taller.
good 6+ inches taller than
They
everybody else.
do, but the majority of the story they're small, and they're talked about as being small basically the whole time until the end. So I do think that, but I have seen this guy, and he is amazing as the Joker in the tiny snippet we see of him doing that, and he is really good in Industry.
Industry's awesome.
So I think that Mary makes sense for him. I don't feel like it's too much of a leap from anything I've seen him do before. It would be
Right.
it's almost like an easy cast. But also, I mean, Adam could do it too, but Adam has more
You
range.
mean George?
Sorry,
George McKay?
you're George,
Yeah.
yeah. George has more range, I think, that I've seen than this guy. So I would almost save George for somebody else, to be honest.
Interesting.
Like maybe even Faramir or something. But,
or something.
yeah, like one of the Rohirrim, if we're gonna make them gingers.
All right. So our Mary is, what was his name?
Harry Lottie.
Harry Lottie.
Um,
You got another one extra.
my
in here.
fatty bulger is John Bradley, who
Hey,
is
Fatty.
Samuel Tarley.
Fatty
Although
Bulger is a phenomenal character
he is
that I would absolutely want to see.
absolutely.
He's the other member of the gang, and
Yes.
and just because he doesn't go on the quest doesn't mean that he doesn't know
No,
about
he does
it.
a really good.
And
he's very important.
He's the alibi sticking around behind.
Yes, and he would nail this. I also considered him. He would be just a fabulous Barlam and Butterbur.
He's still a little young.
But I kind of like a young Barlam and Butterbur.
Barlam's
he
got to
in-
be a little bit older.
He,
I
he
agree with you
inherited.
in like
he
20
inherited
years.
the end. He inherited it. You know. We're not
Yeah, he
actually
could be
actually
young.
told how old he is.
Yeah.
So I guess you're not
know?
wrong.
We just imagine him older. I have another Butterbur that I actually also really like, but yeah, Fatty,
All right.
Fatty Bulger. Bombadil's next for me.
Bombadil. Okay, here we go. So my Tom Bombadil, circling back, is Kenneth Branagh.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I like that.
I grew up watching Kenneth Branagh doing Shakespeare.
Sure.
That's all. That's what I knew him for forever. And Bombadil is a rather Shakespearean kind of character.
Sure.
He's kind of like a funny mix of like Puck and
Yeah.
Oberon and what's his name? I'm gonna have to shorten this. This is embarrassing because my wife is literally in the play of this right now. Fucking
I don't know which one you're talking about.
Falstaff.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Stuff,
it's kind of like Bombadil's kind of a weird, like a Puck Oberon
Yes.
Falstaff combo.
Yes. I like that a lot.
And so there's a Shakespearean kind of feel, and so I think Branagh would be phenomenal for
I like it.
that.
My Bombadil was Bill Connolly,
Hey,
Who is-
Billy Connolly is one of the greatest humans.
who I just and the thing is, and I think I'm actually going to deviate and go with yours since we didn't go with Branagh.
You
for
haven't
my
even heard
Bilbo.
mine yet.
Well, I will. Okay.
What the hell,
I'm going to
dude?
say because I do think because I don't know if Billy Connolly can really sing or anything too, but I will say he's also 82, so you're going to have to like probably just fudge the crap out of it just to make it work. But
My Bombadil can
his-
sing. He can sing.
his joy, Billy Connolly's like just it like emits and radiates joy, and I
Yes.
feel like that's the part of him that made me think Bombadil.
I love it.
But yeah, Sam, let's hear. I
Oh
really,
my
I
gosh,
really actually
I can
wanna hear
see
this.
the eye roll in your mouth. Okay, mine. I'm proud of this one. Hear me out. I don't know if he actually acts,
Oh,
but I think Bo Burnham would be an awesome Bombadil. Think about it.
no.
Yeah,
Why
Uh,
not? He's awesome.
he is awesome. Bo Burnham is fantastic.
Okay,
but
I had a
don't-
backup.
I don't know that I can see a millennial as Tom Bombadil.
Okay, fine. What
What
about
was your
okay?
backup?
My backup is Matt Smith.
You know? Huh.
Yeah. Interesting.
If you watch the House of the Dragon, which is his recent stuff, and all of Doctor Who, you can
I've not-
totally
yeah.
see he carried that. Like he's
He's
the reason that show like came back into the forefront.
That's actually an off the wall pick. That is
Doctor Who basically is Tom Bombadil.
okay.
The characters are very similar.
Yeah, you're not.
They're basically angels that can like just do random
If
stuff,
the, if
and
the
that doesn't
doctor
make any
had found
sense.
a blonde hottie
And just kinda settled down?
settled down in the woods.
Which
That
which
pick
is not even
not,
off kilter for Doctor Who to
Yeah.
do for at least a
I've
millennia.
not watched Doctor Who, so I can't speak to it as much. But I will say Matt Smith is actually like it's one of those weird picks that actually is not that bad. But
He's another one I've got coming up later.
oh,
as well.
okay. I thought he's one I considered, but I didn't land him on anything. But I say we go Branagh. I really like the Branagh pick.
I think it would be a fascinating pick.
I like the Branagh pick.
I'm fine with that.
All right. So Kenneth Branagh is our Tom
Okay.
Bombadil.
And I cast a Goldberry, and I want Annabelle Wallace. as my Goldberry.
What was she? Who was she? In?
She is in Peaky Blinders.
Oh yeah, the Irish girl.
Yes.
Yes, the
Yeah.
Irish girl.
She's pretty perfect
Yep.
for that.
That's kind of what I was thinking, and I think she can sing. She's
She
also
sings
the
in
tutor.
Peaky
She's
Blinders.
Jane Seymour in the Tudors too, and just I think captures like everything.
I thought you were gonna say Sydney Sweeney.
No, but she doesn't.
I know,
she doesn't have the
I'm
gracefulness.
joking,
I know, right?
I'm
She
joking.
doesn't have the
Cindy
gracefulness.
Yeah.
Sweeney doesn't have any of the the charm of that.
She's a great pick.
So then next, now I have my Barliman Butterbur before we move on, which is Jerome Flynn, giving a very different
I like
take
that.
on the character. More of a hard, worn, who does have a warmth, and he's going to do the right thing. He's buds with Gandalf, but he's been running
kinda
this in, and he's
forgetful.
been fighting off the guys. It's more that energy than
I like that.
than goofball.
Well, I was gonna say I was gonna throw in Nick Frost, but that's
Sure.
kind of
Yeah.
a little bit
Not
more.
not to totally derail this, but he is exactly the guy I had in mind for that dude in the Black Company that was selling off bodies and stuff.
Shed.
Oh
Shed.
wow.
That is who I thought of as Shed.
I like that. That's
would be a
that's
great
great
Shed.
That's a great choice for Shed.
Yeah, like it's kind
A
of weak
little
at
more,
first.
a little
and-
less cowardly Shed, but also he could do.
I think he could.
That's what I'm saying. Like he starts
sure.
cowardly and
but
then
also
gets
he
dastardly.
like switches into that other thing. But
Yeah.
I like, and I've not seen him in enough stuff.
Yeah, I
so-
like that. I think that would be a very different, fascinating.
The character
Uh,
I'm thinking for because of Shed is what he did in Black Mirror. No, there's an
Oh,
episode
sure,
he's
sure,
in,
sure.
which is
Okay.
All right, so is Aragorn
Strider,
next?
Aragorn.
Okay, this one was the hardest one for me, and I have two choices. I'll see what you guys think of my A choice, and then
Okay.
if we're still undecided, I'll toss out my B choice. My A
Okay.
choice is Chris Pine.
really.
Interesting.
It's
oh man, I don't know. That's
And again, I'm way open to
it
suggestion.
feels like one of mine.
Chris Pine, not Pratt. Pine.
Yeah, I know.
Like
I heard
that-
you. I heard
that-
you
and
correctly.
not just like Kirk Pine, but Outlaw King when he's playing
Yeah.
Robert the Bruce.
Yeah.
Or, did
No,
you see
he's
Hell
got
or
more.
High Water? He's a phenomenal
He's got
actor.
more. Yeah, no, he's got range. He's obviously done some sillier things.
Yeah, but
but
again,
no,
I'm
he's
just
got
trying
range.
to think of a vastly different
Yes.
performance and not just one of the
Okay.
guys that's like your typical action hero kind of actors.
I like it. So, for mine, I went with Michael Fassbender.
Mm.
In that same note, we're going for a much more intense, focused, not shy about wanting to be king, Aragorn. And I think Fassbender can do
Now,
that.
here's-
We're also
here's-
going to be clean shaven. We're not wearing a beard, which is book accurate. Aragorn doesn't have a beard.
Here's my question with Fassbender, because I thought about Fassbender as well. He's a little. I mean, I know technically he's not too old because Aragorn's like 80,
Sure.
but being a Dunedain,
Yeah.
he's he's like similar to Frodo. He's much younger
So-
looking.
He's 48, and he's
I mean,
also
the dude, he looks great.
he's
So
married to
I'm-
Alicia Vikander,
I'm
which I
not.
did not know.
Which makes him Aragorn worthy. Yeah.
Well, that makes something that I have coming up a little awkward.
So
I'm not opposed. I just couldn't. I
So
couldn't decide if
I just watched him in Agency, and I didn't think he came off as too old to me.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it worked, but that's just my read. Actually, now I'm curious. How old is Chris Pine? I mean, they're only 4 years apart. Maybe he looks a little younger, but
All right. So Chris Pine,
Who's
Michael
yours?
Fassbender. Who is yours?
Okay. I feel fine about mine. But I kind of think Adam Driver could do it.
huh?
Huh. Here's the thing. Adam Driver is a phenomenal actor. I think he could do a lot. He's definitely not the look that I have in mind for Aragorn, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I feel
all I
like
got.
he would do the Vigo kind of brooding
That's what I
Aragorn
was-
a little bit more than the more confident book Aragorn.
Yes, and that's I was gonna say, if you want another interpretation on the movie Aragorn, and it wouldn't be the same performance as Vigo. Driver's a really interesting pick, and I also think I like Driver in just about everything he does. So
I just-
like,
I
He's
think-
fantastic.
So
So I
he-
think that he would show us the
meaning of love.
He would show us the meaning of life. No, I think he would show us the tension between his bloodline being corrupted, and then rising above. kind
Okay,
of thing.
interesting.
I do feel like he would show that. And
Maybe.
the tension there.
Maybe.
I mean, he does show that in the terrible sequels with Star Wars. Like he shows that. Given a terrible script, he can
Well, I
still
will
show
say,
that.
I wasn't thinking of that idea at all because it's really not present in the books at all. It is an interesting and maybe an obvious idea that the movies investigate and add it in to add conflict into Aragorn's character, and it's an interesting take, but it is not present in the books, just basically at all as an idea. The whole men are weak thing is just like it's just not present in Lord of the Rings and in Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. So I'm not against it,
Yeah.
but that's just why
What I'm saying
didn't
is
think of
he
it.
would show that without it being scripted or even
No,
said.
fair enough.
Without
Fair
it,
enough.
he would just carry that
Energy.
as an actor. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, interesting.
Anyways,
I like it.
I think I'd probably go with Fassbender.
I like Fassbender
my other
a lot.
choice
I'm curious
was-
about your B choice.
My B choice was Travis Fimmel, who was Ragnar in Vikings.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I think he would probably be great.
So
as
I've not
Aragorn.
seen Vikings. I can't vote for him because I've not seen Vikings, but I do like his look.
I'm going with that guy.
Okay.
That guy's it, for sure. He's amazing in Vikings,
Okay.
and if he's not doing the Vikings thing and doing Aragorn, he would crush. Didn't he do the World of Warcraft movie?
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was great.
I mean, it's silly as it might have been.
It
but
was
he
a silly movie.
My
He
brain
was
heard
good.
Minecraft movie, and I was like, "You guys saw the Minecraft movie?"
No, you have small kids, so eventually yes, but not.
You want to switch your vote to Vikings guy? Or do
Sure,
you wanna
I'll
stay with-
I'll
stay
go.
with
I'll
Fassbender?
I'll stick up for
All right.
Travis. I think that's great.
Alrighty.
I shouldn't have second guessed myself because he was actually the first one that I came up with.
Just look at that.
He's a
Aragorn.
handsome, he's a
I know,
stunning
I know.
specimen.
That says Aragorn.
Okay, so my
So-
Bill Fernie before we move on
Bill Fernie, all right.
was Max Minghella in A Handmaid's Tale,
yeah, that's
an
perfect.
industry,
He has
social
a
network,
very punchable face.
very punchable face. And then now we
No
can
offense,
move
fella,
on to
but-
Glorfindel.
All right, Glorfindel. So Glorfindel is another one of our characters that we're adding back in. Understand why he was cut from the movies, of course, but
Yes.
it is a shame that one of the only other people to fight and kill a Balrog in the entirety of Middle Earth was not in the movie. My Glorfindel is Matt Smith.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. I get that.
Yeah.
Very
makes
powerful elfin. I get it. I like that.
He's a more rugged-looking elfin.
Sure.
He looks like an elf that fought a Balrog.
Sure. Mine is Dan Stevens.
Okay.
Who,
Yep, don't hate that. Yep.
Yeah, who I think has an intensity about him.
He definitely does.
And it's just a performer I also really enjoy. Downton Abbey, and he was in the. He's been in a bunch of different things, but I think he's got an elfish quality, and I also think he's a guy I generally you like quickly, which you need to do with.
Yeah.
Which I honestly, Matt Smith's probably is the same way, but like you want to like them instantly.
Yeah.
Which is the thing I was thinking with this character. Did you cast a Glorfindel?
I just did, yeah.
All right, lay it on us, Sam.
Idris Elba.
Yeah, let's go.
I don't hate it.
I don't
Idris
hate it
Elba's
either.
Awesome.
I don't hate it either.
I've never seen a thing that he was in that wasn't spectacular.
I mean, think
so.
specifically his role in Thor.
Sure.
Yeah,
Heimdall?
yeah.
Heimdall, like just
Yeah,
like
okay.
super strong. Everybody knows he's powerful, mighty. I think he could kick ass. Yeah.
Okay.
I like all three of our choices, to be frank.
I don't have a bad feeling about them.
I mean,
I would
I can
probably-
imagine Idris Elba
Sam,
killing a Balrog.
I mean, Sam, do you have a feeling if you want to? I don't. I like both of ours enough to, but just to. Sam, what do you think? Or do you? Or are you adamant on Elba?
I like Matt like in general, but I don't feel like he's as fancy as I want Glorfindel to be. I did like so. I also had Skarsgård, Alexander Skarsgård in mind as Glorfindel. So that would be my B choice, but he needs to be like immaculate in all of the masculine tropey sort of ways. So I mean, even like a ripped Jason Momoa, like he needs to be like that to me. Like that's how Glorfindel always came across to me. So
Interesting.
I would throw Chris Hemsworth in the ring too. Like it would be one of those guys. All of those dudes kind of hold the same space for me. Like
I don't hate the idea of beefy elf Glorfindel. I was thinking Dan Stevens would get more jacked for this, and Matt Smith's not really a small guy.
No,
he's
and that's
not.
kinda
he's
why- that's kinda why I
jacked enough
picked-
too, but
that's
he's
why- that's
he's
kinda
not
why I was
as
going
like
for him.
he's not as like glamorousy looking.
Sure.
To me.
It's interesting because I never thought of Glorfindel as particularly glamorous. I mean, obviously he's a high elf, but like,
I mean,
He
even in
struck
saying
me as
high elf to
more-
me, it always seems like that. That's my personal
Sure.
take. Yeah.
So
So for me, I would throw in Skarsgård after Elba.
again, just spoiler alert, he's showing up later in my
okay,
list as
I
well.
did not. He's not. He's one I did think for a few things, but he's not. I did not cast him.
Skarsgård
Mm-mm.
or Elba?
Either.
I think Matt Smith is my favorite, but I would be fine with Dan Stevens as Glorfindel.
Okay, let's do that. I don't. Well, because especially you've got Skarsgård coming up, so we'll leave him
Yeah.
alone. I could be convinced on a Glorfindel as Skarsgård. I
think you'll like where I have
I
him.
like a big name casting. I will say, especially we're doing realistic. I love a big name casting because Glorfindel shows up, you fall in love with him instantly, and then he basically rides off.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
he's not a part of it anymore, and you're like, what the heck?
That's why it's like a
Like
cool
big-
cameo.
A big name. It's a cool cameo, but like a big name that you're like, oh, he's gonna definitely be in the show.
Yeah.
Is like I do like that as part of that.
And
So,
honestly, of all the projects that you're gonna get the draw for that, it's gonna be a Lord of the Rings.
I think
type
so.
thing.
yeah.
Okay.
All right, who's- what-
Elrond's my
Elrond.
next.
All right, so my Elrond is Cillian Murphy.
It's so funny. I also have Cillian Murphy.
Hell
I had
yes.
I had Tom Hiddleston as a B.
Sure. Yeah. I think that I love Tom Hiddleston.
Mhm.
I'm a massive Cillian Murphy fan.
Yes.
And I think that there is a
He has the gravitas.
depth and a weight behind Cillian Murphy's eyes.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's from his personal experiences or just being very, very Irish.
Yeah.
But there's a weight to everything that he does that I think goes with Elrond.
I agree, and I also think, and I think Hiddleston does this as well a little bit, but doesn't quite have the gravitas. But Murphy also, Elrond is described as kind as summer, and I do think, even more honestly than the performance we get in the Lord of the Rings movies, Cillian also has this like really kind of sad, but also kindness to him. Again, not to the performance we get in the Lord of the Rings films is excellent,
Yeah.
and I'm not critiquing it, but I do think that Elrond comes off. He actually has some really warm moments with the young Hobbit, so it's not like not there. But I think Murphy can actually dive into that feeling as well as the like, I've lived for thousands of years and seen everything, and
Like the tired eyes kind of thing.
I think he can do that, and again, give us then a different performance from Elrond, and make it his own. So I like that a lot.
Awesome.
I had two.
You have
I have two.
Okay.
I was thinking either Ralph Fiennes or
okay.
Jim Caviezel.
Okay.
I mean, he's freaking
Interesting.
Jesus. You know what I mean?
I like Fiennes a lot. He's an actor I also like
Pops
basically
up
in everything.
Later in my
He
list.
pops, he's not in my list. He's not in my list. But Fiennes is great. But obviously we both picked
Killian, so I think that's a done
I
deal.
think it's
Are you
done,
down
yeah.
with Cillian Murphy, Sam?
I do. I see everything you're saying.
Yeah.
Like I get that.
Okay.
Gimli's my next.
Okay. All right.
I don't
Now, this is okay. This is now. I have to preface this. This is my. I think this is safe to say this is my most left field casting choice,
Okay.
but it is also maybe the one that I'm the most excited about.
Okay.
I think that this actor would deliver a much more book Gimli performance.
Okay.
And I love Gimli in the movies. Don't get it twisted.
Sure.
I love it. This would be a much less comic relief.
Same.
Much
My
more
I was thinking the same
honorable
way.
dwarf badass.
Yeah.
And that would be John Bernthal,
Who's that?
the Punisher.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. He's got the nose for it already.
Sure.
The busted up nose. Just slap a giant beard on him and some
Interesting.
dwarvish tattoos and some heavy armor and an axe. And I think that he would get like he is so intense and so
Yeah.
committed. I think that
Interesting.
he would
It'll
be
be
an
a more book
absolutely
actor.
Has he done?
phenomenal.
Does he do English accents?
I think so.
I've only heard him
I don't
talk
know
the
that
one
I've-
way.
I don't know if he's been in some. I know he was in a period medieval movie, but he played. I think his character was mute.
Okay.
But I mean, he's a phenomenal actor.
He
I'm
is.
sure that he could
Just
do an accent.
Okay, that's an interesting choice. I can't hear. I just hear him talking in like a Philadelphia, Baltimore accent. That's the only.
But
part
he
I'm
has
struggling
that
with.
that gruffness to his
He does.
voice that
He
like
does.
working with a dialect coach.
He could get there.
They could even figure something out for the dwarves that's not a straight up British accent.
Maybe so.
It's a little bit more
or
of
Scott.
a-
Yeah. Okay, my pick for Gimli was Ralph Ineson
All from
from
friggin'
the Witch and Nosferatu.
So I hate to keep saying this. He's later in my list as
Later in
well.
your list.
Ralph Ineson has one of the greatest voices that I've ever heard
Yeah.
in my life.
Yeah.
I don't see the dwarf physicality from him.
So I think
And
the dwarf.
obviously, like they had a scale double.
That's what I'm
But-
saying. I don't know what we're doing to pull it off. But like definitely John Rhys Davies also didn't have. John Rhys Davies is like
but he has
6'3".
like an imposing physicality to him that
Sure.
shrunk down. He had that kind of
Sure.
Stoutness. Yeah.
stout bearing.
I'm mostly going for the face and the voice, and then we'll figure out the body side.
You know who I would love as a sidebar Middle Earth character that I would love, and I have him coming up later. I think he would be a great dwarf in Thorin's Company,
Yeah.
like Ralph Ineson.
Okay.
I like Balin or Dwalin,
Yeah.
or even like Dane Ironfoot.
Okay.
Yeah.
But as the younger, son of Gloin,
Sure. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
But again, I can't overemphasize like one of the best voices that I'll never forget hearing him. I think it was the British Office was the very first time that I ever saw him. And it was like, holy shit, that voice. It's phenomenal.
Yeah. I'm a fan. I'm a big fan. I think he can do a little bit of the Gimli humor too, but also have
Sure.
some of that gravitas. Okay.
Sam.
Mine is David Harbour from
Sure.
Stranger Things.
Okay.
David Harbour's
Yeah.
great.
I think he'd be a good Gimli. He seems like, he could chop stuff with an axe and stuff like that.
Sure.
He absolutely could. No, I don't hate that at all. I think I think that he would be a more John Rhys Davies type performance.
Yeah.
Sure.
But again, there's nothing wrong with that. I think David Harbour would be a fantastic choice.
It's so funny. They're all
They're all so tall.
all these guys are 6'3".
You play a
I don't
dwarf.
know about Berntal's height.
He's not that tall.
Okay.
He's not short, I don't think, but
Yeah. But I believe he's 5'11". Okay.
so
Sam,
like
what are your
I
thoughts?
already said, I got to stick with Bernthal. I'm sticking with him. I think he would be such an interesting,
I'm
violent Gimli.
if I could hear the accent, I think I would be very down. I didn't even consider him for anything in this because I couldn't not hear
Yeah, I
him
don't know.
talking British.
I like how off kilter it is.
I do too.
But
I'm
I also
down.
kind of
I
like
think he can
David
figure it out.
Harbour as Gimli too.
I don't hate David Harbour.
I don't know. We might have to circle back on this one.
Okay.
Circle back.
I mean, I can. Honestly, I'll just vote for Bernthal. We'll figure out the voice.
Okay. Yeah, I think he'd figure it out. So our Gimli is John Bernthal. Is Legolas next?
Mm-hmm.
All right, my Legolas is Nicholas Holt.
Okay.
From,
Yeah,
sure.
Fury Road, and then most recently Nosferatu.
I almost cast him as Aragorn, but yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Similar to when I was thinking about Matt Smith, I think that Nicholas Holt, obviously he's a tall fella, and he has a kind of an elfin face,
Mm-hmm.
and a slightly different elfin type face than somebody like Orlando Bloom. He's not quite as pretty,
Sure.
but I think he'd be an interesting choice.
Okay. I like that. My Legolas is Stephen Miller, who is recently in Department Q. He plays a reporter. He has just like a really good intensity, but he's also recently in a production of 12th Night and Father Brown TV show. So he's a Scottish TV actor.
Father Brown. Was that the...
Not Father Ted.
I was thinking Father
Not
Ted.
Father Ted.
I'm glad
No.
you picked up
Yeah.
what I was putting down there because I could not remember the name of that show. Father Ted.
Father Brown is a detective series.
Okay.
It's a
Is that one of the-
it's a Chesterton. It's the Chesterton stories of a
Okay.
detective priest.
Okay, gotcha.
But he's just kind of got the look, and I also like he would give a different performance than, and I think we would maybe attack the elves in a different way than the other movies do. But
We're definitely heading in that direction.
yeah, but it's also in my mind, he's sort of an Orlando Bloomish, like not really had his moment yet. Type casting for me. Who's your Legolas?
I was thinking Jacob Elordi.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
having a hard time picking. I don't think I've seen him in anything. I know I've seen his name a bunch recently, but
He's in.
He's really tall.
He's a giant person, which is fine for elves.
sure.
Yeah.
He's
I'm
kind of a
also-
Netflix heartthrob.
Yeah. So you get you get the Instagram follows.
That's right. I mean, that's the point.
And that's the big. So he's in
He's,
Saltburn.
Saltburn is his like
Big
one
big
of his
role.
bigger roles, which is a crazy movie.
Let's see.
I'm going to be honest. I'm not familiar with either of these gentlemen's work.
Yeah.
I may have seen them in something, but not a big enough role that I remember.
Kissing Booth. He's in Euphoria. Yeah.
So I'll stick with
He plays Elvis and Priscilla.
I'll stick with Nicholas Holt for myself, just because I don't know
Yeah.
either of those guys. So,
Yeah.
but I'm open to being overruled for sure.
All good. I'm convicted on Miller, but I know I just recently watched Department Q and he's just really good. So, but
I've not seen him in anything.
I know that's fair. So call it then.
Well, I like. I'll probably do
Holt.
Stephen Miller, mostly because Legolas, while he's an important character, I feel like is an opportunity for people to start something.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Like Legolas doesn't seem very 3D at all. In all
Yeah,
of
he's
Lord of the
kinda-
Rings, he's
yeah,
kind of just
sure.
like there, you know,
Sure.
and he's helpful and all that, but you know, he's just sort of around supporting everything, which is a great opportunity for an up and coming guy. So I'd probably go with your guy, Daniel.
So Stephen Miller
There it is.
our
Yeah.
Legolas
With a V.
with a V, the way it's supposed to be spelled.
Steven.
All right, Boromir next.
Yes.
Can I make a request? Can we do Boromir and Faramir at the same time?
That's fine.
And the reason that I want to do that is I have picked for Boromir Chris Hemsworth,
Okay.
Liam?
and for Faramir Liam Hemsworth.
Okay.
And I actually think that I mean I think it's a fun gimmick in a way of casting the brothers.
Sure.
I do wonder if it wouldn't maybe possibly hit a little close to home potentially.
Sure.
But I also think that each of them would be fantastic for those roles.
Interesting.
I think that Chris Hemsworth especially is actually a very good actor, underrated actor, because he's obviously most well known for Thor, which isn't like a super complex character to play.
Right.
But I think that he would capture that heroism of Boromir, obviously, but also that the desperation to save his people that is powerful enough to open himself up to being tempted by the ring.
So I've not seen him in enough non-Thor roles to feel as confident in his range, or just like he's just pigeonholed in my mind. He's a good performer in that role, and he does the physicality of it. But it's also like he's at his best when he's being very zany, or at least that's what I've liked. But that's just what I've seen of him. It's not necessarily accurate to what he's actually capable of.
His Netflix series, it's 2 movies. It's his like John Wick movies.
Okay.
He's much more just straight serious in it.
Sure.
And then it is a little zany, but his character in Furiosa was
I've not
phenomenal.
seen that, but I've seen the clips of him, and it's like it's that like wild performance.
Extraction is the movies I was thinking of on Netflix.
So my pick for Boromir is Jamie Sives. I just watched the Department Q show, so I picked a number of actors from that show because it's just really well done. There's a lot of good performance in it. But he was also Jory Cassell in Game of Thrones and Sitnikov in Chernobyl. Just a really good performer in everything I've seen him in so far. I feel like obviously he was in Game of Thrones. It's kind of that same kind of energy. So you've kind of got that going on. But I liked his performance and all those things, and had I also think would maybe do like a little more a Boromir with a little less braggadocio and a little more of a tortured figure to do sort of an different interpretation on it. And although honestly, I think you could argue that there's not an actor that nailed a character more than
Sean Bean.
Sean Bean.
I was going to say
it's
pretty
just,
like we talk
like,
about book versus movie versions of the characters.
He nailed it.
There's not really there's not a differentiation.
No. So, and then my Faramir, again, I wanted to go a very different route, and I went with Ben Whishaw, who I think could nail
the sad thing.
The sad thing. He's said to be a wizard's pupil. He also then he would be able to do a brooding Faramir, but then also has the warmth once he opens up to the hobbits. So you would have that indecision, which they added to the movies, which I don't really like that much, but you would have that at the beginning, and then I also compared the two. They look, I feel like they look like they could be brothers. I really, I've liked Ben Whishaw as a performer.
Very interesting pick. Samwise?
I really like the real life brothers thing. That I'm just gonna throw the Skarsgård's brothers in there too, where Alexander Boromir, and the other one
and Bill
is Faramir. Yeah, like I think he could do it.
Clown.
He doesn't only have to dress up as vampires and clowns. Like,
does he? I feel like he does.
He has only, but I mean, I think he could really pull off the Faramir character.
Okay,
they're fantastic actors.
Sure. Okay.
I don't necessarily disagree with that. Obviously, I like my picks. I think yours are interesting, Daniel. I'm not. The only thing with Ben Whishaw I would think is he doesn't have the. I know obviously Faramir is not the same level of warrior, the same type of warrior as Boromir, but I have a harder time seeing Ben Whishaw swinging a sword.
Well, and that's the thing where we will get him there in the pre-production process. We'll get that done, because I don't think the other the actor that plays Faramir in the movies is all that imposing either.
Well, no, but there's imposing, but then there's also like can use a sword.
Sure.
And I know that you obviously no actor can really use a sword except Viggo is like the only actor I've ever heard of that like
did swordplay.
Modern, there's a bunch of the old timey actors like Basil Rathbone that were like actual accomplished fencers. But
I will say you have to believe that Faramir can fight, but he actually doesn't do any fighting that we witness in the books at all. So we just have to be able to make him be. It has to be believable that he is a ranger. So I mean, and maybe we don't get there, but that's my rebuttal. Sam, it's over to you.
Yeah, I'll probably toss it over to do the Hemsworth thing. I think that'd be kind of fun. Again, because they have such short-lived roles, it could be kind of cool to have that kind of a big name in a series like this.
I really do think that Chris Hemsworth is a high enough caliber actor to be able to carry the weight of Boromir.
Boromir also, because of Sean Bean's impeccable performance, Boromir's like Tormund is pretty basic in trope lore. Like if you think about it,
Sure. Yeah.
like good struggling with temptation, like it's basically the oldest struggle that there is.
Sure.
So I feel like Chris could, even if he did a shitty job, he would do fine, you know. And I don't think he would do a shitty job. He definitely looks the part and carries like that whole, like, you know, son of the fake king of Gondor thing.
It is interesting though, like out of the two, and I know it's like it feels like the weightier, more challenging performance is Boromir's, which maybe it is, but I would be more worried about Liam, who I have actually less confidence in as an actor. I'm not critiquing the pick
as Faramir. Then Chris.
He does capture the dynamic between the two of them, right? That one is more like bookish and thoughtful and all that stuff.
Right,
that stuff is all there.
Yeah.
But just like literally as an actor, Liam, I just don't like. He's
Faramir is a much more complex character than Boromir, in my opinion.
I think so. But and I'm not noting the picks, but it's just interesting. I think a lot of people would feel like you'd be more concerned with Chris, but I think it's personally it's just the other way around.
You're not wrong. The older I've become, Boromir has become one of my favorite characters.
Sure, he's amazing.
All right, so the Hemsworth brothers.
Arwen.
All right, my Arwen is Ana de Armas.
I knew you were going to do that. I really thought you were going to do that. It's so funny.
Yeah.
My Arwen is Daisy Edgar Jones, who was in Normal People, Twisters, Under the Banner of Heaven, and Where the Crawdads Sing. Really graceful, wonderful performer. Arwen actually didn't have all that much to do with these in the books. If we're doing the books, you can add material for her, but I think she's great.
I can't. This is another one where I can't. I don't think I've seen.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've seen her in anything.
Normal People is fantastic.
Oh, Andor.
She's not in Andor.
She's not in Andor.
No, that's you're thinking Adria.
Okay.
I can't remember her last name, but they do favor each other a little bit.
I don't actually have an Arwen, but I like yours, Daniel.
Right.
I think I would go with her. She's great in Where the
Thanks.
Crawdads Sing and all the other stuff.
Very good.
Okay, Saruman is my next up.
Saruman. All right. For Saruman, I went with Ralph Fiennes.
Okay, he would be excellent as Saruman. Dark wizarding to the max.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I know he played, Voldemort, but I think he would. Again, kind of another spot-on character. It's hard to imagine Saruman without Christopher Lee.
Sure.
But I think that Ralph Fiennes would do a great job of capturing the gravitas of Saruman, but then also the kind of heel turn to sneering at Gandalf for being so in love with these hobbits. And then I also think that Ralph Fiennes would be phenomenal in the Scouring of the Shire era, in the Sharky era of Saruman.
Sure. My Saruman is Anton Lesser, who is Partaz in Andor.
Cast,
He's the head of the ISB, and I could just see him. He's just like every line reading in that show is so good. Would also it would be a different, maybe more
Soft-spoken.
conniving. Yes, more soft spoken. So it's which I know we're like the voice of Saruman, but it's more the whispering. Win you over in that sort of way. It's obviously it would be very different than Christopher Lee's performance.
Like the influence of it.
Yeah, but that's I just loved him in Andor and wanted to include him, and
It's a very
went
interesting choice. He's phenomenal.
yeah, he's been in a ton of things too,
He has.
but Andor's the most recent one.
He
I
was
saw him
also in Game of Thrones, wasn't he? I think he was Qyburn.
Qyburn, yeah.
Yes, that is correct. Yes, that is correct.
Creepy
He was great as
Qyburn.
Qyburn too.
Sam, do you have a Saruman?
This is where I think Ralph Ineson fits the most perfectly.
Interesting.
The
He would-
voice
he would be great.
alone, like the voice of Saruman, like
That
he
is
has
interesting.
such. You even said
The
like
very,
his
very,
voice
very unique voice.
Mhm.
is so. It's the only one amongst anyone we've talked about tonight that even slightly replicates Christopher Reeve. Rest in peace. But
Christopher Lee.
yeah, that's what I mean.
Christopher Reeve,
Reeve,
Superman.
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 Yeah. Superman. Christopher Lee. Correction. But yes, I think that he would be my Saruman pick.
Interesting.
I also went with Anton, so we had that continued of the Star Wars and Lord of the Rings
They play
synergy.
both.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. Villains in both. That's why I have Daniel Radcliffe as Frodo.
These are all three very interesting.
These are all
picks.
good. I'm actually I'm partial to my pick, but I feel really good about all of those. I'd watch Fiennes do just about anything, and Innocent is a really interesting pick. We're also thinking this is going up against Daniel Craig,
Gandalf versus
and
I like that with. So that's a phenomenal point, and
'Cause we
I
already
think
cast
that
him.
makes me want to double down on Ray Fiennes.
I will.
And I also think that the transit. Like, again, I already mentioned Sharky, but circling back to that, the transition from the big, powerful Ray Fiennes Saruman
Yes.
to the down in the dirt.
I was gonna say.
Sharky.
I was gonna say because we're doing Craig as if we went Oldman or somebody else, I think Lesser would not be necessarily even a better pick, but more. But I think it doesn't. I do think that's the one thing I didn't think about even in my own casting. I just also really just like this as a performer. But I would thinking about someone competing with Craig.
I do want to see that
think
wizard fight.
I think it needs to be Fiennes.
They also look. I mean, obviously, age-wise, they are, but they look like contemporaries.
They do. They do.
Yeah.
I like that. I really like Innocent too.
I've got one more spot for Innocent that I think you guys will. Will like. It's kind of obvious when we get to it, but
Okay, Galadriel.
Galadriel for me is Leah Seydoux.
Oh sure. Okay. Yeah. She's been in a ton of stuff.
Yeah. French. She's a French actress.
She's really good. Oh, we have the same birthday.
Not gonna be like wildly divergent from.
Sure.
Why am I blanking on her name? The woman that plays Galadriel in
Kate Blanchett.
yeah, not wildly divergent from Kate Blanchett, but that's another performance that's pretty iconic.
Yeah.
But I think she would be phenomenal. She's got the gravitas and I could very easily see her, having the moment with each of the members of the Fellowship and really drilling into them. And
so I had two ideas, and then this is comboed with a Celeborn pick as well for both. But one I liked was Genevieve O'Reilly, who was Mon Mothma in Andor.
interesting. Yeah.
I think she would be a lot like the Blanchett's performance, but just different. Just also slightly different. So that's not like my real pick. But if we did her, I would love a Jude Law Celeborn. And Jude Law definitely should be an elf. That's kind of a fun little pairing. But my real pick is Elizabeth Debicki, who also has the elven height and the elvish look, and I think can do the intensity. She's done Princess Di. She's also kind of at a moment. She's been in Tenet. She's been in
Guardians of the Galaxy.
She's in the new Guardians of the Galaxy. She was in Great Gatsby. She's also 6'3", so she's got that elvish height down. And if we pick her, because we need a tall elf to be alongside, we're resurrecting Armie Hammer's career. We're bringing him back into Celeborn.
I'm gonna have to put the kibosh on.
He didn't do a lot of the things they think.
Jude
I
Law
think
is-
you know.
we
We keep Jude Law around. That's fine.
I think that I'm in love with the idea of her with Army Hammer. I think
I can't do it. I can't do it. I
I'm
have
going
to
there.
put my
I'm
foot
going
down.
there. I have to.
I have to
agree.
put my foot down
Okay.
because he was in the Lone Ranger, and I can never forgive that utter travesty. And then also all the other stuff. Secondary,
See,
secondary
I
to the
think
Lone
a lot of
Ranger.
that stuff was blown out of proportion. I didn't. He was in the Lone Ranger. Like, there was like a remake or something.
Yeah, you blocked it out because we've been friends for so long, and you knew to.
The Lone Ranger with.
I don't think I've seen it.
With what's his face?
Fucking Johnny Depp was in it. Yeah,
he
as
was
Okay.
Tonto.
Jack Sparrow with a bird on his head.
And he was the Lone Ranger.
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Look, for those
I will say
that are not my immediate family and don't know this, I was obsessed with with the Lone Ranger as a kid, and that movie was an utter travesty and crime against humanity.
It was pretty.
No,
bad.
okay, I do. The
think,
Johnny
though,
Depp
like,
does
being
remind me.
serious that
Jude Law would be a great Celeborn. He'd be a great
stellar Celeborn.
That being said,
It would also just be very funny to see him as Celeborn.
it would be okay. Aylmer's my next.
Did you have anybody
Oh,
for
sorry,
Galadriel,
my bad,
Sam?
my bad, my bad.
And
Sam.
we gotta pick one.
We gotta pick.
No,
My bad.
No,
my bad.
I want the Daniel's lady.
Okay.
Yeah, I like Lea Seydoux, but I think she would
She'd
be phenomenal.
knock it out. And I do think she would.
What was her name?
Elizabeth Debicki.
Elizabeth Debicki.
She would. I think she would be able to. Obviously, Blanchett did a great job, so like there would be some of that, like the ethereal quality. But I think it would also be just a very different Galadriel.
Yeah. All right, Aylmer, you said?
Yep.
Is next. All right, my Aylmer is Alexander Skarsgård.
Okay. Yeah. There you go.
I mean, what is there to say? He's tall. He's jacked. He absolutely is has that stoic warrior attitude and bearing.
Yep.
But I think he also he could really capture the gentle king side,
Sure.
future king side of Aylmer, and the especially if we're going more, the book slightly, we have more time to go with the book accurate happenings where he's thrown in jail because of his loyalty to the king.
Well, he's that's actually not a part of the book. That's just that's the movies. It's Erkenbrand who's been sent off.
Yeah, but Aylmer's in jail.
No,
not in Helm's Deep, in Edoras. I'm pretty sure. Erkenbrand is sent off, and Gandalf brings Erkenbrand back to Helm's Deep.
Maybe.
But because Aylmer travels to Helm's Deep with them
Yes.
in the books,
Yes.
and but Grima, I believe, had thrown him in.
Well, so they do meet him out in the wild, and they all go
Yes.
back, and then
Yeah,
and then
but by
maybe
the time they get back,
he's being held. Okay, that
Yeah.
may be right. That may be right. Yes, and then he goes to Helm's Deep with them.
Yeah.
Okay. So very similar idea. I'm going with Alexander Ludwig from Vikings. He's also Cato.
He's
Yeah, very good.
He's a great point.
He's-
He's a great. I think he's great. I enjoyed him very much in
Yeah.
Vikings. I would say that, and I don't mean to throw the shade, but I think that Skarsgård is a better actor.
Sure. I've honestly not ever. I saw this guy in Hunger Games.
Yeah, no, he's great.
Yeah,
He's great, but I think that
I think
From
that's
what
fine.
I've seen, Skarsgård
he's
has
also
a
good
little
in
bit.
Vikings too.
He is. I just think that Skarsgård
That's
has
fair.
a little bit more depth
That's fair.
from what I've seen. It's not to say that's not there. Sam, do you have an Aylmer?
Yeah, I was thinking Aaron Taylor Johnson
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't
as
hate it.
Aylmer.
I like Aaron Taylor Johnson a lot.
I actually
pretty
don't
good.
like. I actually don't like it very
Really?
much. I really don't.
What, you didn't like Craven, bro?
No. And I actually didn't. I think he's fine in
Nosferatu?
Nosferatu, but I don't actually like that performance very much.
Interesting.
Yeah, but sorry.
No,
But-
that's fascinating.
But I'm fine
That's
to
weird.
go
Why
with.
didn't you say that when we saw Nosferatu? That you
I
didn't
think
like his performance.
I think maybe I didn't. I mean, I didn't want to like, but like that's probably like the only thing in that movie I didn't love.
that is so cool.
Fascinating.
There's good
I wish you had said that.
moments.
That's very
yeah,
cool.
sorry, my bad. But no, I don't love that performance.
You don't believe him?
Yeah, he's like trying really hard. There are some like he gets all teary eyed a few times, and it's good. And but like he's doing when he's doing his performance, it's like the ratio of warmth to I'm actually definitely a jerk was just all. It
All
wasn't
over.
a transition. It was just definitely he's sort of a rich jerk. So in that way he's like it's fine. But then I don't know. It just once he's breaking, it felt very forced.
Interesting.
That was just the way I read it. But I've not seen him in a lot.
I can see that.
But but I'm fine to just go with Skarsgård. That's fine with me.
I don't know. I want to go with Ludwig.
Okay, well I'll just go with Skarsgård. That's
Sam is
fine.
picking someone over Skarsgård.
I want him to be the other one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Who was the other one?
Well, he can't be now, but
Oh wait, did
He
we?
already
No, we
is
picked
cast.
Stevens. We picked Stevens as
Hemsworth.
As Hemsworth. Okay.
yeah.
All right. Wormtongue.
Wormtongue. Wormtongue for me is David Desmalkian. I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly. The first time I ever remember seeing him was in a
I don't know.
really something little independent movie. But then he was in had a little bit part in The Dark Knight, and then
Okay.
he was just in
Oh yeah. Okay.
he was just in that
Sure,
movie, the
yeah.
late Night with the Devil.
Yeah.
He's a little young, perhaps. Well, I guess
No,
he's not.
he's- yeah,
49.
no, he's
he
40,
looks a
he's
lot younger than
50,
he is.
yeah,
But
yeah.
so then he's like right there. I think he'd be great. He's got the again. This is like a shitty thing to say, but he's got the look.
I think that's
and
actually
he's got the
a very.
chops,
I think that's also a very
and-
realistic. That's a more realistic casting than mine, but I also really like mine. But that's a great pick.
Okay.
My pick's Paul Dano, who I just
Interesting.
think would give just the
It'll be
most
super creepy.
the most decrepit, creepy Paul Dano like that. And I obviously
Yeah.
Wormtongue's supposed to be convincing, although like who would listen to that guy still? But like I would just love a bizarro Paul Dano. I had a backup for this, but I also have him for something else. But like I also think Andrew Scott would be an amazing,
Yeah.
an amazing
Wormtongue?
Wormtongue.
He's
little
just
too pretty.
he's too handsome.
Yeah, too pretty.
But I
But-
think that's actually. Oh, I will say,
To be more charming, that
What's
kind
his
of makes
face is
sense.
actually a very handsome guy. He
Yeah,
just
but I
had no
mean they like
eyebrows.
shaved his eyebrows
Well, no,
off.
I know, and we're not
hair
gonna
and everything.
and we're not gonna do that. But like, so you'd have to like make him clammy and nasty.
Sure. Yeah,
I
and
will
Andrew
say,
Scott's great. Like he
but
could
also,
pull it. He could absolutely do it.
handsome Wormtongue is also an interesting idea.
Sure.
Yeah. Like
but-
an ugly Lancelot.
Yes. But those are mine. But do you have Wormtongue?
Yeah, I liked Barry Keoghan. How do you say his
Mhm.
last name?
Very-
yeah,
yeah.
okay, yeah,
As Wormtongue. I think he'd be great.
Oh my god, I really like that.
He's later
Because
on my
he's
list as
super
well.
weird. He's
Oh,
super.
really?
He's
Yep.
super weird with it. You know.
Okay.
And
I mean, I actually I don't really have a problem with any of these.
I like him. What's his name?
Andrew
again?
Scott.
I like him because he's the most different, and I do love the idea of doing a totally different take of making him like kind of a charming Grima, because that would make sense of like how
Yeah.
did he snake
did he win?
how did he snake his way in?
I will say I do
I
think
mean, besides
Yeah.
the whole Saruman magic.
yes,
part of it.
yes.
yeah, but
that's helping.
you know, magic only goes so far, especially in Tolkien's world. So
Well-
like he would have had to have some
you
sort
could
of
do an interesting thing too,
role
where like
placement.
he actually it's handsome Wormtongue, more handsome. I know he's described as slimy, but you could do him more handsome until he's cast out, and then like have
then
a-
you see like
almost
his
have
flaming-
a changing like as Theoden comes to life, Wormtongue looks ickier and ickier.
You
It's
could
just
make
an
it to where
interesting-
he's like almost interesting to Eowyn as well,
yeah, sure,
and
why
not
I
so
don't know.
Interesting. I mean, I don't hate it. He's awesome. We can say
like
Andrew Scott.
tapping into that whole predator thing. You know,
Yeah.
like it's alluring at first, but
I think the
I've
only
tried.
thing I've seen him in is Moriarty in
He's
in
amazing, yeah.
Sherlock,
Which is-
and that was
which is
spectacular.
so
So,
He's really good also in Fleabag, second season.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
amazing in Ripley. He's honestly, he might be the actor with the most range. He was in the recent His Dark Materials
Mhm.
Yeah.
as the dad, and is just like so charming and warm. I will say, like, I don't know another actor honestly.
was
that,
he?
Yes.
I thought that was James McAvoy.
No. No, not that dad.
Oh, okay.
The other dad.
Okay.
The missing dad.
I didn't get very far in that.
Yeah, you're good.
So,
Well, but in the books, it's the
Yeah.
it's the other boy's dad.
right.
But yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll go with Andrew Scott for Grima Wormtongue. I think that's a very interesting new direction. Theoden?
Yeah.
All right. My Theoden is Graham McTavish. And he actually was in The Hobbit. as Dwalin.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
I think he has
Interesting.
the weight and the gravitas, but his physicality is a lot different than Bernard Hill's. So
Sure.
Bernard Hill's another one where it's hard to imagine a different interpretation of Theoden than what he did.
Was he in Lord?
So
Yeah, he's Davos. No, he's not Davos.
No.
He is in Game of Thrones, though.
he is. I don't think he was in it for very long.
Okay.
No, he's one of the Stark people.
But anyways, I think he would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I think that he would be a great uncle for Alexander Skarsgård.
Sure. Mine is Liam Cunningham, Onion Knight.
I
Who's
thought
that
about
one?
him
Yeah.
a lot
just,
as well.
like,
Liam Cunningham is phenomenal.
he's great. It feels very samey to.
Mhm. That's honestly the only
yeah,
reason
I
why.
mean,
And
I love
I-
y'all's picks, but they all definitely look like Bernard Hill.
I mean, it is one of those things where they nailed it so much that it's hard to do that. Because honestly, like Skarsgård and they don't really look alike, but their energy is very similar. The two, the Aomer,
Yeah.
whatever his name is. So it's like it's sometimes when it's nailed, it's
Carl
just
Urban.
Carl Urban. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's hard to
Well,
do that.
I like mine a lot.
Who's yours?
Well, mine is just a recasting. I want Sean Bean as Theoden.
Oh, interesting.
I want
I
Sean
definitely
Bean as
don't hate
Theoden.
that. I don't think that is that much of a break away from the Bernard Hill.
No, it isn't.
I think that all three of ours are kind of in the same camp. As
I love that he dies though.
They are,
I
but
love
that's
that he
also
dies.
that's also what I'm thinking. I'm thinking I want to see him
I
again
might actually just.
in another Sean Bean role. He would crush it. He does.
Sean Bean goes back to Lord of the
ro-
Rings.
He looks the role. It's like a whole Robert Downey Jr. is now the villain in MCU. So
I don't
like,
think he would say. I don't think he would agree to do it, but I will go with Sean Bean. I love that. I love that.
Well, I can't say no to Sean Bean.
Yeah.
As much as I love
I love
Graham McTavish, I can't.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
he does
legally
die
obligated
again,
to
so he
say
might be
yes
into
for
it.
Sean Bean. So Sean
Yes,
Bean
I
is
never-
back.
He's
He's
back.
back, baby.
Theoden,
back in the
freaking-
Lord of the Rings.
So
freaking
back.
Theoden.
Okay, Eowyn.
Eowyn. My Eowyn is Alicia Vikander.
Interesting. Very different take on it. I think that's interesting.
Very different, but she's got the physicality from she was Lara Croft and everything.
Sure.
She could definitely pull off the fighting, and she's got that. Even when in Ex Machina, there was a little bit of that. Like
Yeah.
she's really good at capturing that. Like she's gorgeous. She looks she's smaller of frame, but she has that. There's like that spirit inside of her in a lot of her roles, like just that is not content in the confines that she's been put in.
Sure.
So she is my choice for Eowyn.
Okay. Mine is another younger or newer actor. Her name is Miriam Pesh. She was Sweet Pico Likely in Industry season 2,
Yeah.
and she's phenomenal in that season. Very charming. She looks like a young, what's her face, witch lady.
Tilda Swinton.
No, the comedy actress who was in
Catherine Hahn.
Yeah. But I think she can pull off the industry is such a different show, but I think she can pull off Eowyn's yearning for Aragorn, as well as like her like browbeaten like world weariness at the end, and I don't know. I thought she was great in Industry.
Interesting. She's another one I haven't seen.
Yeah.
So I can't speak to her performance, but I like your pitch.
I mean, she
Sam?
looks great. So,
Yeah.
mine is probably too much of a heavy lift, but I could see her destroying the Witch King, and Jodie Comer is who I would think would be a good Eowyn.
I don't disagree.
Because she has a tremendous range, and she could totally play the star-eyed over Aragorn lady, and then also flip the script and be like a total badass on horseback. Like that totally has. And then I have another option.
She
too.
could also. She looks like she could be sisters with Skarsgård.
Right.
I like that.
I'm honestly fine with that. I really like her. I just want to see Miriam
I want
Pesh
to
in more
cast her.
things.
Yeah.
But I would be happy to have Comer in the role.
Yeah, I like Jodie Comer.
Let's do Comer. Okay,
All
Gollum.
right, Jodie Comer.
Gollum.
My Gollum
My Gollum is inspired. I'm
is
so proud of my Gollum.
my Gollum is Barry Keoghan.
Oh, okay. I love that. I do love that. I love that. I love that.
I think Barry looked. I think he came up. I think he came up in our discussion of Hobbits. If he didn't, he should have.
Yeah, I mean, he could.
I thought about him. I thought about him for
a Pippin or a
Pippin.
Merry. Yeah.
So he looks like
He's
someone that was a Hobbit at one point.
Yeah. So my Gollum is Robert Pattinson.
That's pretty good.
Who I think would just go so weird out of he's done some weird voices.
Yeah.
Mickey 17,
I just think he would get to a really strange place with the role, and I just
don't hate that at all.
I just love it.
That's not bad. Especially because obviously it's going to be motion capture. It's going to be all the things
but also I can see him also going for it and finding.
But that's like machinist Christian Bale level of.
I mean, no. I don't mean
doing it live.
I don't mean doing it live.
Do it live.
I mean, but I can see him finding a physicality for the motion capture.
Yeah.
To rival.
Well, let's not go that far.
To rival, not to better, but to match the performance.
Yeah.
Just like he did
there.
with
I think,
Batman.
Yeah.
Basically.
But I mean,
he was great at Batman.
Same idea.
He's great with Batman.
But I think.
Have you seen Mickey 17?
I haven't yet.
Okay, but what? So you haven't seen that and you cast this?
Yes.
Okay, so everything you're saying, go pat yourself on the back after watching Mickey 17 because I don't even have an option for Gollum, but Robert Pattinson is 100%. I think that's our new Gollum.
I think my choice is great.
No,
I think
Kieran's a great choice.
Robert Pattinson, that is pretty inspired.
It's like casting Heath Ledger as the Joker.
I think
that's
Pattinson,
how it feels
yeah.
to me. It
Yeah.
feels like this could be a totally new, demented take on it.
Yeah.
That's beautiful and all at the same time.
All right. So that's our Pattinson is our he's our Gollum.
So next, I have a Baragon. Or you have a Treebeard, don't you?
I do have a Treebeard.
Okay.
My Treebeard is Ralph Ineson.
I once I was thinking about that.
We're running out of characters for it, but yeah, Ralph Ineson, that
great.
voice as Treebeard.
Well, honestly, once we were talking about Saruman and his voice, I was like, oh, I bet that's what this.
Yeah,
So
it's Treebeard.
So obviously we cast Andrew Scott as Wormtongue, but I thought he would also be an excellent Baragon.
Sure.
But then thinking about Baragon, which I don't, did you cast a Baragon?
I didn't.
That's okay. But I think Richard Madden would be a lovely Baragon.
Sure.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
I think that
He's got to do something in
Yeah,
it.
he's got to be around doing something. So then Denethor's my next.
I had a Treebeard.
You have a Treebeard?
Wait.
Oh, okay.
Did you hear my Treebeard? Ralph Ineson.
I do. I think
my-
that's great. I can't escape from being Saruman, but I do love that. My Treebeard is Jeff Bridges
Okay.
because I think. I don't know. Having something
That
of the dude
actually
voice,
would not be
having
bad.
the dude voice is like this old
Let's
tree.
not be hasty, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I mean, obviously,
Safety,
you would
bro.
need the right accent, but I actually think he would do a good job.
All
Yeah,
those
I do.
trees really
I'm gonna go
tied
with
the
Innocent,
forest
but
together.
yeah.
I
Well, I mean,
like
Innocent
Innocent,
has to
but
be in
I think
it,
it's
so
great, yeah.
And Jeff Bridges is
But
not
I think that
wanting
Jeff
to.
I
Bridges is
actually
that's a
think
that's
that-
a hilarious
that's a
and
great idea.
amazing
and you could
idea.
definitely get him. It's like a day in the studio.
Yeah.
So you could
Definitely get him
Just
for it.
say
That's
all these
funny.
words for us, and we'll just.
He actually legit, like, for real, if you're talking, like, thinking about the voice that he did, like, as Rooster Cogburn,
Yeah. And
do that
True
with
Grit.
a more British accent.
Yes.
That is actually a Treebeard voice.
Yes.
Right.
So, like, I don't
That's
hate
a great
it, but
idea.
I do think the Ralph Ineson would.
I love Ralph Ineson. Yeah.
And we've mentioned him too many
we
times
could.
to not have him in there.
We could. Looking at their ages, we could do. Quick Beam is Innocent,
Yeah.
who is actually a big part in the books.
Sure.
He takes on a lot of
And
that role,
and
and
Jeff
Jeff
Bridges
Bridges
is-
as Treebeard.
You know what? Fuck it. I love it.
And them
Jeff
two,
Bridges
them two
for
talk,
Treebeard.
them two
Jeff
talking
Bridges.
together. Yeah.
This is you know what? This is another one of those like we've back to back here with Robert
Yeah.
Pattinson and Jeff Bridges. Is like completely out of left field.
But it
Inspired.
would be great.
Yeah.
This is why you guys got to give me John Bernthal as
Yeah.
Gimli.
Yeah. I agree.
All right. So then we said Rob Stark as
Baragon. Yep. I mean,
All right,
if anybody
so-
has any rebuttals to that,
Nah, I
that's
don't.
fine.
My only
I-
rebuttals, I might want to save him for something else, but
No.
I can't think of anything else right now. So
I mean, he would be a good Prince Emrahill as well. But I mean, it's kind of the same idea, but
yeah.
I think maybe a little old. But
Denethor.
Denethor.
Mark
yeah.
Strong is my Denethor.
Who's that?
Okay. Is that
He was in Kingsman.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He nails the dark brooding.
Sure.
He would be great.
And I think that he also is an interesting father to the Hemsworths.
Sure.
And I could definitely see him yelling at Liam Hemsworth.
Okay. Mine is Ben Miles, who is Tay Kolma in Andor. And I just also think has a really interesting presence about him. He was also in The Crown. He was also the voice of Ansbach in Elder Scrolls,
Interesting.
which I didn't know. But he was in Napoleon. He was Peter
Yeah.
Townsend in The Crown. I just think he captures well, and this is one of those things where we talk about book accuracy. I think he could, and honestly, I think Mark Strong could as well, be a much more book accurate Denethor, who is not a crazed lunatic. He has gone. He is despairing. He does not believe the war can be won, but he is not like insane. And I absolutely adore. I'm spacing on the actor's name. I absolutely love John Noble.
Yeah.
He's
amazing.
seriously one of my favorite actors. He's in he's been in a bunch of different things, but he's
Fringe.
so good in Fringe.
Yeah, amazing.
Absolutely amazing in Fringe. And his Denethor performance is amazing, and I get exactly why they pitched it that way. But like actually like Denethor, the way he's described, is that he actually goes and does battle with Sauron at night, and he goes and he's like literally does a mental duel with Gandalf in the throne room, which he does lose, but you don't really get that sense as much from the movies.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not critiquing them as much as saying like if you're going
The movie is
for it,
kind of showing like steps past that.
yes, it is. It steps past, and again, it's also trying in the movies. They're trying to like in a show we'd have more time to kind of
Yes.
sit with some of this stuff where they're trying to just like slap bang do it, and we've got to send the guy and we're going to do the whole eating montage.
Yeah.
You know, it's just again the performance is
The
incredible.
tomato,
Yeah.
yeah.
But also Denethor is despairing, but isn't really evil in the books.
Right.
He's someone that is like, I just
He's
want
a
to.
piece of shit dad,
And-
but he's
yes.
not straight up.
Yes, and he thinks he does like not admire Faramir, which is also a big mistake. But he also like when he's burning them, he thinks Faramir is already dead. It's not this whole like thing, and then he's obviously like despairing and going to kill himself. So there's like he's a much more tragic, noble character than like evil, crazy lunatic. Again, talking about the character we're shown in the books, not overly critiquing the movies.
No.
Again, John Noble is one of my favorite performers. So that's my thoughts. And honestly, I think you've captured the same idea with Mark
I
Strong.
think so. Do you have a Denethor, Sam?
I do. Christoph Waltz.
Interesting.
So that is interesting.
I love Christoph
Mostly,
Waltz.
and so here's the thing. I do love
I actually
John.
think he would do another version of Crazy Denethor, I think.
He would. However, Denethor is showing up on the scene in the story in general is after a slew of characters that you know. And when he does arrive on the scene, he's somebody that you've kind of known about a little bit, and he kind of needs to carry this like thing that is like interesting about him. And coming into the room and talking to him, and that being the first introduction, I don't know an actor that has pulled that off better than Christoph Waltz in any movie I've ever seen that he's been in. Once he's on screen, he is commanding whatever scene it is that he's in, whether he's a villain, whether he's a supporting, whatever it is. He's talking, you're listening, and it's definitely like this guy's point of view makes sense from his point of view. You know what I mean? Like, so for me, and Denethor has to have some sort of sell to, essentially be a sitting king of a kingdom and convince everybody that he's a ruler, and then also have the, the arrogance to like, deny the actual king returning, like, and that kind of thing, and have this sort of weird thing with his sons. And I think Christoph could do that. And be almost alluring in a way. It's like, you know what? I kind of get where Denethor's coming from. I don't even really know why, but
Sure.
I like the way he talks, or something like that.
You
So-
are harboring hobbits under your cloak, Gandalf.
And he would also eat the tomato
He would eat
in a
He would-
great
tomato
way.
scene
It
again.
would be
Recreating the tomato
But
scene.
the tomato scene has to stay.
No, it doesn't have to stay.
I love Christoph Waltz, and I like your pitch for him for sure. I don't think I would pick him for Denethor.
I will say the only reason I like him is I actually can see him as the Hemsworth's dad.
Yeah.
But I prefer my pick or Mark Strong.
I think I'm sticking
in
with
the
Mark Strong.
role.
I think that there's a
I think this guy looks more like the Hemsworths than Mark Strong. So
I
I would
also
probably
agree
go
with
with
that,
that just based
but-
on physical stuff alone. I do think Mark Strong would be awesome as Denethor. I also think he might seem like too heavy of a hand though.
very very intense. But I think that would be a
But
good
Denethor's
thing.
pretty intense.
I think that would be a good thing. Yeah.
Denethor's
I think
intense.
that would absolutely be a good thing. I mean, I'm happy to go with Ben Miles because I like Ben Miles. But
Yeah.
All right.
I think I'm doing Ben Miles.
All right.
okay,
Ben
my
Miles is our
Halberad.
Denethor.
I got a Halberad, which was planned. Who did we go with? Who did we go with for Aragorn?
Travis Fimmel.
We did go with Fimmel. Okay, I can't. I've not seen him in much, but I can't. Well, this still works. Then I think I remember who we were talking about. So we get to Halberad. Aragorn meets a buddy,
Yep.
his long lost friend for the first time, and up walks Mads Mikkelsen.
Oh, that works perfectly.
You're so in.
That works
You're
perfectly.
so in.
You're so
Travis
yeah.
Fimmel and Mads Mikkelsen.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
right?
perfect. Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
He
No,
Mads
that's-
needs to be in this in some way, shape, or form.
And again, it's not going to be a huge part. Although Halberad's around a lot more than
Yeah, I mean he's there
He's
for the rest
there.
of the time, and
Yes.
they go through he and the rest of the
he goes
they
through the
go
Paths of the Dead
yeah.
together.
Yeah, sick.
It's important.
Sick.
Yeah.
Love
I've got a Prince Imrahil. Do you got a Prince Imrahil?
I got one.
Okay.
I don't. I don't actually remember who that is.
All right, my Prince Imrahil is Henry Cavill.
Okay.
Who is
I like
Prince
that.
Amberhill?
He's the
He-
what's the
he's-
prince of the
he's-
town?
He's one of the
I'm blanking.
he's
I'm
one of the
blanking.
Lords of
he's
Gondor.
He owes his allegiance to Gondor, and he shows up, and he's there for the majority of the Battle of Pelennor Fields, isn't he? And
He
he
shows up
and he
right
goes
before
to
it.
the
It's okay.
he goes
Go
to
on.
the
It's
black
part of the
he goes to the
council.
Black Gate as well.
Yes. I went with Kit Harington.
Oh, nice.
I love I'm actually glad that none of us put Cavill for Aragorn because that seems way too on the nose. To me.
I also actually don't think he'd be good.
No, I don't either.
I don't. That's why it's one of those obvious choices that I don't
Yeah.
think he would actually be right for.
Yeah.
But I do think that Prince Imrahil he would knock out of the park.
Sure. And it's a small role.
He's the Swan Knight, so he's a handsome fella,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a hero. You know, he's a brave,
Yeah.
mighty warrior, and I think he would jump at the chance to also play like a super kind of deep cut nerdy character.
Yeah, it's true.
So that Cavill is my Imrahil.
I like it.
Yeah. I think I'll go with Cavill on this one too.
Okay.
He just I don't know anything about Prince Imrahil. I can't remember that. But just like the Swan Knight and all that stuff, and having somebody like Cavill just show up in the show, like kind of like helps introduce that new sort of energy of a character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we're talking about casting a TV show, and that.
Okay,
sense.
so now here at the end we have two characters that we didn't decide on. We have Gimli, and we have our Frodo that we haven't nailed down.
Oh, did we not commit to a Frodo?
Nope. So let's go back to Gimli first, looking at the makeup of our fellowship.
Well, we gave it. Well, now that we've cast. Well, we didn't cast Innocent as Treebeard, but I was like, that is literally what happened.
That
to
is
him.
that's so funny. That's so funny.
That's really funny.
But
I'm fine if we can get assurances that Bernthal can do a British accent of some kind. I'm good with him as Gimli.
I think he would be able to pull it off.
I have a new Frodo.
You have a new Frodo.
A new Frodo, a new one. Oh my gosh. Sam, how do you feel about John Bernthal for Gimli?
Who's Legolas again?
That was Daniel's pick. Miller.
Stephen Miller.
I'm gonna look at him again.
Yep.
And Aragorn, picture of him.
Travis Fimmel. Sam, I don't know if you can see.
Oh
mine.
yeah, the Vikings guy. Who is he up against? Gimli.
It was John Bernthal, and then Daniel. Who was your pick? It
Ralph
was
Ineson.
Ralph Ineson, and then Sam. You had said David.
Oh, but Ralph is
David
already
Harbour.
cast as somebody,
And you had said David Harbour.
It's
Sam.
just voice acting.
which would make John Rhys Davis go full
I
circle.
know we were just laughing at that.
just
Oh man,
That one, yeah, I know, right?
I don't know.
Except actually, technically, he's quick beam now.
Yeah, it is quick beam now, so it's not exactly a one.
It's still like a. I do love the idea of a completely different take on Gimli, but I also love Anderson being just the face of that. I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with Stevens on it, just because it's an off kilter show.
I think it would.
basically.
I think it would be. I think you would nail a more book accurate Gimli.
You ready for
All right, so
my
Frodo.
curveball Frodo.
Jonathan Bailey was
what's
my
your-
choice.
what's your curveball
Matthew
Frodo?
Good was
Keep
Daniels,
going.
and then Sam.
Well, I had Daniel Radcliffe,
You
but
had
my
Daniel
my
Radcliffe.
curveball one is Jeremy Allen White
Okay, yeah.
Hmm.
I do like Jeremy
From
Allen
The
White.
Chef?
I don't.
Yep.
or from Chef from what?
Yes, chef.
Yes.
Well,
What's the
he's
show?
in the. He just
Oh.
the trailer just dropped for the.
Why
Spring-
can't
I remember the
name of the
Springsteen
show?
Movie.
Yeah, that's Frodo right there.
There he is. Look at that.
I mean, that's like
six-pack.
sexy Frodo.
I know, right?
He's already short.
He's
though.
in the new Springsteen movie.
Yep.
Which I think his performance looks pretty good.
Why can't I remember
Um,
the name of the damn show? It's like Bear
the
Claw
bear.
or something.
Yeah, the
Oh,
bear.
the bear.
Yeah.
Bear Claw.
Yeah, he would be a very different take on. I still like Matthew Good personally, but I do think he would be he would be an interesting take on Frodo. I would need to hear an English accent on him.
I don't think that would be far off for him to do.
Here's
I would
my
hope
biggest
not.
thing against Matthew Good is he's 6'2".
Jeremy
that's fair.
Allen
Which
is
is
set
low.
I mean,
5'7".
I understand
think,
that. I understand that there's but he looks 6'2". Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
looks
The long
He's
neck
long and lean.
like he looks like he's.
Oh
that
wait,
tall.
what's his
Jeremy Allen also might be a hobbit when you think about it. Ripped as he is, you know.
I actually don't hate.
No, he's 5'7".
Yeah, I
one
mean,
of them
they're
was Philip Boyd,
Mm-hmm.
not Philip Boyd. Billy Boyd. Boyd.
Philip Boyd is a kid we knew in
yeah,
youth
but way
group.
back in the day.
Billy Boyd is very short.
One of them was taller.
No, I don't think any of them are tall.
Sean Astin's not.
No,
Super
he's
short.
not. I thought one of them was taller though. I mean, obviously none of them are under 4 feet tall.
I think it's Astin.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he's 5'7". I think they're all about that.
5'7". Yeah.
Yeah, so Jeremy Allen fits that to a T.
All right.
I don't.
Yeah, he's 5'6". He's the shortest one of all.
I don't hate that. I feel like I should have this is a bit anticlimactic here at the end of this, but I don't have a massively strong opinion. I think any of these choices would be great.
I don't
think Jonathan
know.
Bailey would be great. I think that Jeremy Allen White would be great.
Yeah.
I think
mean-
Matthew Good would be great again, but my biggest issue is he just looks.
Yeah.
He looks tall to me. Even if he was shortened down, I feel like it would feel awkward to me. Matthew Good looking short. That's one of the greatest Google searches.
Oh my
I've
God.
seen.
Oh, short.
Short guy.
Short King
He's
Matthew
still-
Good.
Honestly, though, his torso, bro. His torso's too long.
Yeah, he looks like
Oh my
he looks like a
God.
very tall guy to me.
All right.
Did I win the lead actor?
All right, so we're in agreement.
I do think Al. I mean, I don't know. Again, I just don't know your performer. Alan White does do like being tortured really well, and like the pain, and so like
Yeah.
I think him carrying the ring will
Yeah.
do a good job.
Oh, I think it would. He's
Yeah.
a great actor.
The boss.
The boss is Frodo the boss. All right, Jeremy Allen White, that's our Frodo. And that...
He's singing Born to Run.
Yeah. And yes, chef. Yes, chef.
Yes, chef. Yeah. Okay, sorry, my bad.
All right, so that's our recast for Lord of the Rings. What do you think? Who would you have picked somebody different from our list? Do you have a completely and utterly different cast list? Leave that in the comments. Give us a like and a subscribe if you enjoyed this. Share us with your friends. You can find us on all the social media bullshits. We love you guys, and we will see you at the next episode. Namaria.